Greetings, Patriots. This is your Unit 2 Reteach guided practice. If you want to improve your Unit 2 test that you took last week, this is what you will have to work on, okay? So please reference your real number diagram, okay? And we're going to go ahead and label. It says circle the diagram that represents the following. Well, set A is integers, so when I look over here, I can see that that's integers. And then set B is whole numbers. That's whole numbers. So I see that my whole numbers has to be inside my integers because all whole numbers are also integers. So when I look at the diagram, I know that this says they only have one thing in common. So this graphic organizer would not work. This one here says that there's no relationship at all between them, and I know that can't be true. So here, set A is integers, that's the outer subset, and set B is whole numbers. That's correct. So our whole numbers, all a part of the integer family. This one looks really good. Here it says set B would be my whole numbers and set A would be my integers. Well, I know that everything that's a whole number, even according to this, is a subset of the set of integers. So the best option would be the third diagram. All right, which number is an integer but not a natural number? So you can't be natural, and natural are positive values only, okay? So whenever I see this improper fraction, I know this tells me I'm going to have to divide. So when I look at the first option, I have negative 20 divided by 2. So when I think about negative 20 divided by 2, well, I know that 2 times 10 equals 20, but this has to be a negative 10 because it's negative 20 divided by 2. Well, if I take 14 and divide it by 4, that's going to give me a decimal value of 3.5, okay? And all I'm doing, and it's going to be negative, all I'm doing is taking 14 and dividing it by 4. That goes in there 3 times, which is 12, and therefore that goes into 0.5. So that's a negative 3.5, okay? 16 divided by 4, well, I know that's 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and 24 divided by 6 is also 4. So these are my answers that I need to compare. So I need to know which number is an integer, but it cannot be natural. Well, natural, these are natural numbers. It says not natural, so no, okay? Well, negative 3.5, if I look at my diagram up here, I know because of that decimal, that is a rational number. So they're not asking me about rational numbers. So my best answer has to be A, negative 20 divided by 2. This is an integer, but it's not natural because it's a negative number. All right, let's go ahead and look at some true-false questions. So this one wants to know which of the following is not true, right? So I'm actually looking for the false answer. Well, use your diagram to help you. Here it says all integers are rational numbers. Look at your diagram. Are your integers rational numbers? Just by looking at that diagram, I can see that anything that's an integer is also a rational. So I'm going to say that that is a true statement. Whole numbers include the subset of natural numbers. Well, it's kind of like our subset here. This is whole, and they do include the subset of natural numbers. So I'm going to say that is true as well, because if I'm a natural number, I am also a whole number. This says natural numbers include the set of integers numbers. So I can see that here are my integer set. Well, natural numbers are integers, but integer numbers are not all the integers can be natural because of my negative values. So when it says natural numbers include everything that's an integer, I have to say that that is false. Okay, negative 7 cannot be a natural number. Then if I take negative 25 divided by 5, I know my answer has to be negative 5, because negative 5 times 5 equals negative 25. So my answer is a negative 5. Is that an integer? I'm going to say yes, it is. Is it also rational? Yes, it is. So that is true. Okay, let's go ahead and move to which of the following numbers represent integers? Well, I know my integers have to be negative values, right? And they cannot have decimal points or be in between, like negative 2.5. That is not an integer. So my integers don't have the decimal component to it. So if I look at my number line, I can definitely see that negative 4 is an integer. I know 1.5, negative 1.5, nope, but oh, zero's there, so 0 is also part of the integer family, and it looks like those are the only two values that will work. To go to a tutorial session, it doesn't matter with who, as long as you have proof of this reteach, so that way you can get a little bit of tutoring, and then your teacher will issue you, or a math teacher can issue you it'll have to be with your teacher. Sorry, your teacher will issue you the retest. So please make the arrangements that you need in order to make improvements on your grade. Don't leave it to the last minute, okay? Have a wonderful day. Go ahead and go to some adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. This was the second part of our exam. So let's go ahead and practice. The table shows the number of hours that Ike, Max, and Jerry worked on homework last week. How many total hours did they work on homework? Well, I know that tells me I'm going to have to add. So Ike worked 2.75. Remember, when we're adding decimals, you need to line up and bring down. Max worked 3.5 and Jerry worked 6.6. So since I'm adding these, bring your decimal values straight down. You can fill your place value with zeros as your placeholder. So 5 plus 0 and 0 is 5, right? 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 7 is 18. All right, so I have 5 and 6, and another 6 is 12. So how many total hours did they spend? 12.85 hours. Okay, let's go ahead and look at problem number 6. Andy and 3 of his friends, so I need you to think about that. They all spent $136.56 on dinner and left a $20. I'm gonna change this to $20.52 tip. So just change it for Miss King. They decided to split the bill evenly. How much will each of them have to pay? So think about that. You and your friends all go to dinner, right? And you all spend all this money. So you leave a tip because your waiter did a great job and you spent this amount of money. Do we need a total amount? Of course. So first thing I'm going to have to do is definitely add. But when they split the bill evenly, that means they all had to divide that bill, okay, so that it was fair. Everybody paid. So how much will each of them have to pay? So let's go back and look at how many friends are a part of this party. So here it says that Andy and 3 of his friends. So I have a total of 4 people. That's important. There's 4 people then that are going to have to split the bill evenly. So let's go figure out the cost of the bill. So $136.56 plus $20.52. This is the tip they left, and I have to add that tip because it is extra money. So that I paid the waiter. So when I add this up, I get $157.08. That's how much their dinner bill was. So if I have to split the bill evenly between 4 people, that means I'm going to have to take that $157.08 and divide it by 4 people. Since this 4 is already a whole number, I'm just going to bring my decimal straight up. Well, I know that 4 goes into 15 3 times, and that gives me 37. 9 times 4 is 36, and that gives me 1 left over with 10. 4 times 2 is 8, so if I subtract that, I get 2, bring down my 8, and 4 times 7 is 28. So it seems like they each had to pay $39.27, almost $40 a person. Okay, you can always check to see if you take 39.27 and multiply it by 4 to see if that gives you the total amount that they spent. All right, let's go on to our last problem, Patriots. Mark, he can walk a mile in 18 and a half minutes. All right, so I need y'all to think about your PE. So 1 mile equals 18.5 minutes. How long is it going to take him to walk 2 miles? So think about that. Another mile, right, is going to be another 18 and a half minutes. Well, you can figure out then the half mile and figure out this way. Some people want to add. I'm going to multiply. Excuse me. So I have 18.5 times 2.5. I'm not going to worry about the decimals. Remember, we multiply as if they weren't there. We deal with that at the end of our product. So that's 42. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 4 is 9. I'm done with the 5. Go ahead and do 5 times 2, which is 10, 16, 17, and 3. So when I add all of this up, I get 46.25 minutes. This is how long it took him to walk 2.5 miles. Okay? So it's 46.25 because remember I go back and there's 2 numbers behind the decimals, so therefore I do that. You could have also just rounded this. This could have been 19 times 3, okay? I could have rounded this and known that it would be about 57 minutes, but because I rounded up, I know my answer should be less. So the fact that you should get something close to 57 is also a good indicator of where your decimal should go. Okay, Patriots, it's your job to work on this, to show your teacher proof that you understand this,